Hello everybody, Kearon here with Explorminate, and welcome to another one of my mini-series on one of a relatively new game, Sanctus Reach. This game's published by Slytherin. It's been out, I want to think I first got my hands on it in January, so it's still pretty recent. I understand by the time this video goes up it's going to be beginning of April, but still a relatively new game. Now, this we're gonna do a series of videos here like normal. I'm gonna show off in this first one here, just kind of a brief overview, the options. We're probably gonna go into the editor very lightly because I don't have a ton of experience with it, and then we're gonna show you what a campaign and what like a skirmish looks like. So Sanctus Reach, a little bit of a background, and full disclosure, I am not a Warhammer 40,000 lore buff, as I am with like the fantasy universe, just because I grew up as a kid playing Warhammer Fantasy as opposed to 40k. Um, that being said, I have played the tabletop game a bit, and the first thing that should be noted here, this game focuses on basically this Space Marine Vikings. What are they? I'm already spacing this. Jeepers. I'll remember in a second. Anyways, Space Wolves. There we go. One of their worlds is being attacked, and orcs are overrunning it, and it's actually been like basically taken over. And in the game with the campaign, you're going through trying to liberate that. And so basically it's smaller groups of space wolves against large hordes of orcs. And that's the glimpse and the extent of the game, for better or for worse. You're not going to play as Space Marines from what I've experienced. You're not going to you're not going to see like Eldar or Tau or Tyranids, any of that, right? This is Space Wolves orcs, which is fine. It's a focused narrative experience, and what is here is actually pretty substantial. And going back to kind of what I was touching on earlier, where I have played a little bit of 40k, this actually seems like a pretty darn close adaptation of like the tabletop game to a video game. Probably the most that I've actually seen with any Games Workshop game yet. I know there is like a Battlefleet Gothic iOS game out there I've been wanting to play. That sounds pretty close. That might give it a run for its money. The only thing closer, also made by Slytherin, would be, I think it's Armageddon, 40k Armageddon. It's got that looks like it's a little closer to the tabletop, perhaps. Well, I shouldn't say closer, but kind of in the same vein from what I've seen. Again, no first-hand experience there, but yeah, I mean, you're going to have range, you're going to have different kind of weapons, like you've got your frac guns or your bolters, your heavy bolters, twin linked, all that stuff that you might know from the tabletop game, like, well, what's twin link do? Helps you be more accurate, stuff like that. That carries over and it is manifest here. You got everything from your Terminator squads up to your Imperial Knights, stuff like that. Ooh, spoiler alert! Yeah, there's an Imperial Knight. We're gonna show that mission off. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, so that is what Sanctus Reach is. So that's what it is. Let's go through a few options here. So let's go to the campaign first off. So we're gonna have Stormclaw. So furious at being held back from the first assault wave, Wolf Lord Crom Draggaze on the observation bay of the strike cruiser Iron Pelt decides that a second attack wave starts now. Anyways, is this just a little bit of like the flavor text you're gonna get between the missions? This is where you're fighting, right? Oops. And I haven't actually played the advanced campaign yet. I've just done Stormclaw. I did run into some issues earlier the game and playing through that. So what you're gonna have is you're gonna play a game, and then this will unlock, and then you're gonna unlock 3 others and then some other skirmishes, and then you just work around. And haven't actually finished the campaign. I have probably about 7 hours into the game. But that's what the campaign consists of. And now these missions are different from what I've played. They were very different in terms of map layout and things. There might be some recycling there we hit on, but that was nice that you were at different environments that were something you had to learn. It's not procedurally generated, just not like XCOM 2 or anything, but they were different maps, right? So that's a campaign. That's where you're probably going to spend the bulk of your time if you're a single player kind of guy. The multiplayer haven't touched at all. A lot of times, I know we try to cover that when we can. I just haven't had anyone to play with, and due to just the schedule with getting this covered and things, I didn't really have time to dive into that. But there are multiplayer options there. Obviously, we have skirmish mode. This is your regular old, custom game, right? So you can choose the map size, the kind of style, if you want to attack, defend, median engagement, symmetric. So a few options there. And then, of course, your force size. You can play the Space Wolves or you can play the Goths, so the Space Orcs, right? And then your army list. You can just do random, I guess. For advanced, this is going to be just, it doesn't hover over, it doesn't tell you everything there. Size of the map, fortification, like percentage of map covered, I think is what this is, versus openness, stuff like that. Because the game does utilize cover. Now, the AI doesn't utilize cover at all. That's one reason you're fighting hordes of orcs, is because they are dumber than dirt. And we'll get there. That's kind of a complaint with the game, I suppose. It's fine. It is what it is. But yeah, so there's that. How much can you skew this? Skew this like a bunch. 6,000 point. We might have fun on a custom game. Anyways, so we have that there. And so that's where you're going to spend the bulk of your time. Now, in terms of options here, I have a few saves from when I was messing around with the map editor, because this is actually where I use it. Yeah, just your standard options there. Nothing too surprising or out of the box, so I'm not really going to go through that there. The music and the artwork, as you've noticed here, are both pretty good, and that stays consistent throughout the game. I'll let you be your own judge of the gameplay and how that looks when we get to that point. But personally, I haven't seen that as much of a impediment to the enjoyment. I know I have seen complaints about, wow, the animations look wonky, like they're hovering on the ground and stuff. I didn't get a lot of that. I mean, it's not a... It doesn't look as good as maybe something like XCOM 2. I think that's going to be our comparison we kind of move to with this. I usually like to compare this game with something else to give you an idea. In case you've never played this before, right? So if you've never played 40K or you've never played something by Slitherine or whatever, that's fine. But yeah, it doesn't look as good as XCOM 2, but it is focused. I think one thing that they did do well is that they keep the game focused. But we have that. So yeah, let's move on to the map editor. So let's get that booted up. We're going to do a new campaign. We're going to campaign folder name, no spaces, LP. And we're going to name it LP test for the Let's Play. So you can make this a carryover campaign. You can create a multiplayer option. I believe what this means is this going to move over. It's just going to connect with another campaign. A little experience with this. I spent probably about 20 minutes with this. Oh. So this is a 32 by 32. Very big, considering... let's pull up a unit. Dun, 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 dun. We're going to do infantry. We're going to do giant Imperial Knight. Considering an Imperial Knight takes up that much space, and if you know the game, you know an Imperial Knight compared with like someone with a metagun, boom. Right, here's some Terminators, some beefier guys. Very, very small, right? Well, I mean, not super small, but like they're not even to his knee. They're not even knee high, right? So we're zooming out. This is pretty big. So you can place units and things for default starting and whatnot. You do see they do have their area of vision there. For tiles, we can do stuff like we'll actually do object placements actually. So put a rock down. Ooh, we got some rocks. Good. Now let's do something a little more exciting. Not a barrel stack. Put an orc barricade up here. Like for example here, I just cannot figure out for the life of me how to toggle the direction that these are facing, which kind of stinks. If you want, you can put a big old Crash Thunderhawk right there. So they do have a dead Imperial Knight. That's sad. Sad he died. He died valiantly. So I'm not gonna. Ooh, not gonna spend a ton of time with this. Mostly just kind of showing you what you can do. Put some grass up here, some foliage, big old crater, big rubble, some more rubble along this line, and then we should be able to manipulate the terrain a little bit, I think, although it wasn't working great before. Well, we're probably not going to get that going. Anyways, so you can place things. Here's like a wall, for example, and let me see if I can actually get a unit up here. This is me just a little screwing around a little bit more than anything. Nope, they're going to go below. Let's see, they got popped in there. He's halfway in the wall, but he looks good while he's doing it. So there is the map editor here. Not going to cover it more than that, but it does seem like a decent editor. From my little bit of time with it, I know I didn't show off much. You know, when I was younger, spent a ton of time with like Blizzard's editors. I'm trying to think of anyone else really. That's about it, I guess. Like we're talking stupid amounts of time. And this seems decent, at least where you can make some custom scenarios for your friends, which would be fun. Like I said, there was that multiplayer option, it looked like. Look into it a little bit more if this is a make or break thing, because I'm not really going to include anything else on this, but there's a map editor. It's included in the base game. They're not charging you for it like some games we've seen recently. That kind of irked me. And it's pretty basic, but it's there, so kind of nice. So those are basically the options there for Sanctus Reach. So stay tuned. Like I said, we're going to do a bit of the campaign, and we are definitely do a little bit of a skirmish. Probably, well, it'll be kind of one and the same in terms of you're not going to see too much different there. But stay tuned, see what the game is, and as always, hit me up in the comments there on the video if you have any further questions or anything. And then at the end, like always, I'll kind of do my good, the bad, and the fun breakdown. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next episode.